Hello and welcome to DT Daily. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Back here once again live at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, every day here at Digital Trends, bringing you the latest news in technology and interviews. Today we're going to be talking to Drew Prindle, our emerging technology editor, about 3D printing. So if you ever had a question about 3D printing, get those into the chat. We're going to be talking to Jean Lewis from Capsure about a new kind of social media app and what they're doing with their program and how they're trying to change it up. We're going to have a Robot Watch segment, one of my favorite segments, where we'll talk about the advent of delivery robots and whether they're going to be delivering your mail, your packages, whatever it's going to be. We're going to talk about those and kind of give you an update on where that's at. We are broadcasting live on Periscope, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, which means, like we said, we can take your comments, your questions, whatever you want to talk about. I see a bunch of people dropping in questions right now, so we'll try to get to all of those. But first, I'm joined here in studio with Marie. Hello, Marie.
Hello, Greg. Thank you.
How are you doing today?
Doing all right.
Excellent. The new haircut looks great.
Thank you.
Yes, I figured I had to call it out just in case people notice the difference from last week.
Thank you.
It up. And
Still getting used to
now
it.
I'm going to get stabbed in between the takes for bringing that up. Let's continue on here. So we have, like we said, a lot to get to today. But let's talk about the headlines. The big headline is this: the Samsung Developer Conference is today, and all the rumors that we've been hearing about Samsung, whether or not we're going to see a foldable phone, may come to fruition today. So let's kind of go over what the three things we think we're going to hear from this. The three things so far are, A, they may show the new Samsung Galaxy F, Galaxy X, Galaxy 10. It kind of depends on what they're going to call it, and whether or not we're going to actually see it. Like, do you think we'll get to it today?
I think we will. I think there have been so many leaks and just theories about it that they have to release at least something. We might not see the actual physical phone, but even if we see mock-ups or
You think we'll get some
pictures,
mock-ups of it?
Something.
I think and we're going to talk about the other foldable phone that came out earlier this week, or like maybe late last week. We'll talk about that one as well. But Samsung's definitely teasing this. They already released the Samsung Foldable logo that came out.
Yeah.
Which debuting that. I'm taking a look here in the chat. People are interested in a foldable phone. So I'm seeing a few different people that are talking about that, wanting to see that. Talking about whether it's not, and then some other people. Jonas saying, what useless crap. Okay, so not interested in a foldable
Sorry,
phone.
Jonas.
Sorry, Jonas. We are live here, so we do want to take your comments and questions as we go through. Some of the other things that we may be hearing about, and we'll get back to talking about the foldable phone here in a few. We're going to see some more about the Galaxy Home smart speaker.
Yes.
So they're trying to get into the smart speaker market, and there's, I think every company is really working on this. Smart speakers are a huge growth industry. You've got your Google Homes, your Apple HomePod, although I don't know how many people have those.
Yeah.
Amazon Alexa, all their different devices. Like, do you use any yourself?
I don't. I think if I did have a house, I would probably start to migrate towards it, but an apartment, not as much for me personally. But I'm surprised it took Samsung this long to get into the game.
To jump into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because right now it feels like Google Home and Amazon devices are kind of taking the market for the most part.
Yeah.
Minus a few different ones here and there. And there are some, I think Sennheiser has one, if I remember correctly. There are some other ones out there. And I'm curious for those watching, do you use a smart home speaker? Is this something you're interested? The Galaxy one, and I love Samsung devices. They make quality products. I think they're one now, kind of this new one that's going to be coming out because they announced it in August. We're thinking today we might find out when it's going to be actually for sale.
I love the look of this new one. I saw, in the Halloween spirit, I saw a side-by-side of this one and a witch's cauldron with the little feet on it.
Cauldron.
I love it.
I love that. That's a great description. I was thinking it kind of looks like one of those 60s movie UFOs.
Yes, it kind of does. With the little prongs coming out the
little landing prongs. I mean, it does have a unique look to it. But the big thing that it runs, which is part of the issue, is Bixby. So how many of you out there use Bixby? That's what I would like to know. Probably not a lot.
No.
And that is Samsung's AI system that they've been working on, and it's expected today we might see Bixby 2.0 announced, where they're trying to grow it. They're really, basically, I look at it as doubling down on Bixby.
Yes.
How many people use Bixby? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know anyone that does.
No.
And I'm not saying that just from a standpoint of, oh, Bixby, but I think a lot of it is the reviews are, it's not that functional, especially compared to Google and compared to Alexa. It's just not there.
I haven't used it. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I haven't used it. I like the idea of moving towards a more natural conversation. I know Google's working really hard on that. Alexa's behind a little bit, and I know Samsung has really been pushing hard for this natural conversation with Bixby. If they can narrow that down and really pinpoint that, I think that would be a huge.
That would be what it would take to try to get over that
Yeah.
that edge. Taking a look on YouTube, some of the comments. There's a smiley, laughing face. AM says no. Derek says Bixby no. Frank says what's Bixby? So I think there's a lot of people. And then somebody from Digital Trends just said the name Bixby just sounds like a self-entitled ass that doesn't really know as much as it thinks it knows. So just laying out the comments right there. So yeah, Bixby. I mean, so far, I don't quite think that Samsung understands that it's just not. I don't think it's going to work. I'm just going to say what it is. I think that eventually they're going to have to transition into just incorporating Google, incorporating third-party apps, and go with that. Unless I'm wrong, unless they just wow us with something really amazing today, it feels like it's just a little bit too late.
I think so, but I don't think they'll integrate ever. I mean, look at Microsoft with Cortana. They are still working on their own AI.
Right, forgot about
so
Microsoft.
hard.
And we did get a poll actually out. There was a survey that was conducted just talking about different AI assistants and where they're at right now. And so it looks like 44% of people who use AI assistants are still using Siri. Siri is the most common one, which makes sense. If you have an Apple device, you're probably using Siri. 30% use Google Assistant, and 17% use Alexa.
All right.
So, I mean, Alexa not really being incorporated into phones as much, that does kind of make sense.
Yeah.
Definitely, I think for the smart home market, it would be right up there with Google Assistant, if not higher, when it comes to just to those kind of devices. And then 4% for Cortana and 4% Bixby. So 4% out there do use Bixby.
All right.
It's just going to be really interesting to see what they come out with this Bixby 2.0, doubling down on it, and we'll see if maybe this is the last hurrah. Maybe we have something really unique.
Yeah, I'm curious to see.
Gonna lean towards the latter, but we'll find out more at the Samsung Developer Conference, which is gonna be actually just after this show. So as soon as we're done with this show, about 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, we'll get to know more about what's gonna be happening with that. And we'll circle back around, drop in your comments or questions, whatever you wanna talk about. Drop those in there. It is time, though, we do our Read 'em and Weep segment.
All right.
This is where we take a look at the comments and the questions that have come through to Digital Trends over the last 24 hours or so. And we do read them, as I say every day. We will take a look at what is posted, and if we can reply, we'll reply. So why don't we take a look here at the first one that we've got. This comes from Maximus D. Meridius. I like the name.
I love it.
Solid name. And this is regarding the article, which AI movie is your favorite? Not this one, Ex Machina. Spoiler alert, she screws over the nice one and does worse to the bad one. No thanks. The best sci-fi is definitely Jungle Book. That's a kind of two different answers, I feel like. I don't know if Jungle Book would count as an AI movie.
Not really?
But really wanted to get into Jungle Book reference. What would your favorite AI movie be?
Ooh. Really
the correct answer is Short Circuit. I'm sorry, you were too late.
Short
Circuit is the correct answer. The best AI movie of all time, ahead of its time. All right, moving on. Let's take a look at the next comment that we have here. Steve. I love Short Circuit. It's so great. Stephanie. All right, so we've got Steve G, or Guy, talking about the images reveal new details on next generation AirPods 2. We talked about this yesterday on the show. We had Dan Gallin here kind of going over the AirPods and what we'd like to see in the next version. This comment is not an aspect I thought about with the AirPods. Steve just says, whenever I see someone using these, I suddenly want to watch Something About Mary. I'm not going to explain that reference. I got it, and now I can never look at AirPods the same again.
It's fantastic.
Nice, Steve. Yeah. We'll just leave that one there. I don't want to get in trouble. Moving on to the next comment that we have for our Read 'em and Weep segment. This is from the HC Audio Riots regarding cigar-shaped comet may actually be an alien probe. Okay, now if you read this story, it talks about, I'm probably screwing up the name. There was an object that came through the solar system. I think it was last year, and it was elongated, and there was speculation about what it was. It didn't come from the solar system, and now there's an article out claiming that it could be an alien probe.
All right.
The comment is this: it looks like a joint, not a cigar. If it's aliens, they are sending us signals to smoke more weed. Elevate your mind, and please leave me out of your probe. It's got to be said in like an Otto from The Simpsons voice.
I know.
So yeah, I mean, you could very much be right. It sounds like aliens are telling you to smoke weed. So
I think that's what the signals are coming
logically,
through.
it just makes sense.
We got to get the tinfoil out.
We need the tinfoil, clearly. We'll have those on by the end of the show. All right, thank you, HC Audio Riots. Moving on here, taking a look at the next ones that we have. Oh, somebody said, referring back to the best AI movie, I, Robot was another one. Again, wrong, but still. I, Robot, yeah, that's not a terrible one. All right, let's see. Oh, still continuing on. With cigar-shaped comet may actually be an alien probe. This is a very hot-button issue for people.
Apparently. Anything space.
Anything
People
space.
love space.
And you have to
weed.
know, no matter what's posted about space, you're going to get conspiracy theory, dude. And here it is. This is Andrew, who says, keeping all of humanity dumbed down is the key. Once society is all dumbed down to Facebook, it makes alien life seem more plausible. But no, it's human beings manipulating the weather, manipulating the news, manipulating your health, manipulating everything. Damn it, you figured it out, Andrew.
I know.
I know.
You got us.
We've been sitting here, we've been doing DT Daily for this long. I mean, it's what, our third week, and you've already busted us on this. So
it's time to pack it up.
yeah, we'll have to erase this, make sure that nobody knows. But Andrew, you got it. Nailed it.
Retcon everything.
Yep, you got it. So I think that's, do we have one more? Do we have one more comment here? I think that we've got. Is the Samsung foldable phone under pressure from FlexPi folding foam debut? And it just says, list of things you'll never need. And I think that I get the comment right there. List of things you'll never need.
I love that name, though.
It's pretty good.
It's fantastic.
It is pretty good. So, Maximus D. Meridius, that's twice you've made it on to Read 'em and Weep. I mean, we all need to step up our name game, I think, after that. All right, we've got one more here, and this comes from Zool regarding the Samsung 85-inch 8K OLED television, which is gigantic.
Yes.
It's
I've
big.
seen it.
And it's referencing, I'm pretty sure, our own Caleb Dennison. Says either that guy is a giant or that's not an 85-inch TV he's standing next to. It looks more like a 65-inch. So you think Caleb was pulling one over on you?
It is Caleb.
It is Caleb.
I will say that.
It's possible.
However, I've seen him in real life.
You can verify?
Yes.
Okay.
Not 6'5".
Not 6'5". So he's not a giant. But that is an 85-inch.
Giant in
that is an
personality.
85-inch television. Giant personality is a good reference there. We'll have to see if Caleb can respond to that. But obviously, the conspiracy theories abound on our comments, and we will neither confirm or deny that. All right, let's go on to talk about some other headlines that we've got. So again, discussing the foldable phone aspect, which is just huge news as far as it seems like I don't know if everybody wants one or not, but that's what everybody's talking about. Samsung may be debuting that at the Samsung Developer Conference, which is coming up. And Bezel's saying, will you broadcast SDC live? We won't straight from here, but we'll tell you how to at the end of this broadcast, how you can check it out. It's going to be happening after this is over. I'm sure timed perfectly because I didn't want to conflict with DT Daily.
No, never.
So, and another question here, just to address this coming through on YouTube, are you guys in San Francisco? We're actually in Portland, Oregon for this office, for this set. We've got another one in New York, but we do have DT employees everywhere, but physically we are in Portland, Oregon.
Yes, we are.
That is where we're at. All right. Talking about the foldable phones, this is actually a trending story from Digital Trends that is up right now, and it has to do with the other foldable phone, the one that actually did come out to market last week. It's the Royal FlexPi, still very strange name, the FlexPi that came out, and our review was just, it's awesome, but should you buy it? No. That's essentially what we said about it, what our reviewer said about it. They got to spend some time with it. Mm-hmm. They said the concept is neat. It's clunky. I mean, it's clunky. It's very thick. A lot of the apps for this one don't really work. Third-party apps don't work very well on it because they're not designed for it.
Makes sense, yeah.
A couple of cool aspects they did showcase were the idea that you could take a picture of someone and they can see what the image is. I don't know if that's really enough for me that I would want to purchase a foldable phone for $1,300. What do you think about these?
Probably not. I've actually been thinking about these a little bit on my downtime. The one question I have is screen protectors.
Right.
How? Because unless we go back to the plastic Invisishields or something like that, I think most of us now are on tempered glass. So how do we make sure that that entire screen can bend and be protected?
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's a very good point. I mean, how many? That industry is definitely going to need to have to figure out how to adapt to these things.
Yeah. But I mean, I would definitely play with one. I'm curious to mess around and see how it works and all the intricacies.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would buy one right now.
Yeah. Wait until it comes out for a little bit more.
Yeah.
I'm taking a look here at some of the comments that come through. That are coming through. Derek just said, "Who cares? Just fold, baby." LM is asking about true wireless charging. Not sure about that part. Let's see some other questions. Glitchbomb says, "So much screen glare and looks cheap." I mean, it does compared to probably what the slicker phones that we're used to. Mm-hmm. I have not personally handled it, and our reviewer said, it is a cool concept.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Definitely.
But don't buy it. Don't buy it for $1,300. I mean, we do know Samsung's going to have one, whether they debut it later today. And again, somebody was asking what the time zone is. It's right now we're 9:15 a.m. Pacific time, 12:15 Eastern. So whether they're going to debut it today or not, we're definitely going to have one later on. I think that's without a doubt.
Yeah,
Samsung's
that'll be the fun
made
part.
it clear with their slick foldable logo. But LG is probably working on one as well. So maybe those are the ones that probably people will go for more.
Possibly, and especially because the Royale isn't available in the U.S. Is that right?
Yeah. The Royals, it's in China right now, so yeah, you wouldn't even be able to get one anyway. But even if they did bring it over here, taking a look at some of the comments, Keelan says the screen's not exposed 100% of the time. Yeah, it depends on this one, the way it folded, and I could be wrong, but I believe it folded so the screen was outside the entire time, according to our images that we had and taking a look at that. So it might actually be exposed most of the time, which does seem kind of strange.
A little bit.
Maybe there's a different way that it could fold back through.
And Derek saying, "I'm a girl, I have a purse. Do you know how much stuff goes in my purse?" There's a lot. There's a lot of potential for cracks and scratches.
I will let you answer that one. Yep, not going to answer that one. All right, so let's see. Derek says if it folds, it probably won't break easy. Talking about the event coming up. So the event's going to be, the Samsung Developer Conference is going to be at 10 a.m. Pacific and 1 p.m. Eastern. Let's see, and you will get copyright. So just some different comments that are coming through. I'm not even sure what all of those are for, but talking about the Royal foldable phone. A couple other things we wanted to get to here before we wrap up our headline segment. And again, Drew Prindle's going to be joining us here in just a little bit to talk about 3D printing and just kind of walk through the history of 3D printing and where we're at. And we have a gigantic 3D printer that we're going to be putting here on screen that will not make me look like a giant. So we've got this. This is, let me pull up here our next topic, our next story that we wanted to bring up just while we have time. Let's talk about this. Facebook. Facebook has announced they are debuting an unsend feature for Facebook Messenger. This is a trending story right now. I'm curious how many out there want this feature. I mean, to me, I feel like if you're sending messages on Facebook, it's probably too late anyway. I mean, whatever you're sending.
It could be.
Have you sent some messages you wish you could take back?
Always. Always.
For me, it's more comments. I want to remove my comments or pretend they never happened, but yeah, nonetheless.
It's a feature that regardless if you want it right now, it's definitely one that should be there for people.
Yeah.
And it's a surprise to me that it's taken so long for companies to kind of catch up with this idea of, maybe we could use an unsend feature.
Yeah, I mean, well, Google obviously did it. I mean, I've many times wished there was an unsend feature on different platforms. I once ruined a surprise Christmas party on accident by hitting reply all to the wrong email. No. And so totally ruined that. So I can understand the unsend feature. That is definitely something that I think I could use, but that is something that Facebook's going to be rolling out for Messenger.
It's a nice safety net to have.
Yeah.
For sure.
It is. All right. People are really interested in the foldable phone. So I want to address some of these comments that are coming through. I'm taking a look at YouTube right now. Again, though, we're broadcasting on Twitch, Periscope, and Facebook. We'll kind of walk through everything that we've got. Let's see. Albrazud says, do you guys think the foldable idea will break the market? As far as people wanting that phone, break up and have something different in phones. I'm assuming is what you're going for. I mean, right now, I think phone companies are trying to find something different, something that hasn't been done. We've got, I mean, other than, the camera underneath the glass,
Yes.
which maybe one of the new Samsung phones is going to have that. It's part of the rumors we've seen. I think everybody's looking for just what the next big different thing will be. And foldable displays is something we've heard about for a long time. I don't think as far as a phone idea, I mean, again, I'd want to see it. I'd want to use it. I don't use a tablet that much, but having that kind of the ability to use two different things, to use a tablet and a phone in one.
Yeah.
Neat. It's not something that I'm definitely going to pay a lot more for.
And to be fair, I will say that every time new technology, new design comes out, there's always a lot of people who are hesitant, who go, oh, why do we even want that? Why do we even need it? And now it's a integrated part of life. So it could just be that maybe I'm just jaded.
Yeah, it could, I mean, absolutely. And seeing some of the comments, I've seen a couple other ones I do want to address that I saw come through on Facebook. Let's see. Glitch says foldables will be the new go-to because the phones are getting bigger. So I see what you're talking about, because you can actually fold it down. You can still get a big phone and fold it in. It depends on how thick that thing is when you get down to it and how that's going to work. Derek says foldable phones won't be huge until Apple does it like smartwatches. Your opinion? I think the foldable display idea, that is something that could be big. If you could have a wraparound,
Yes.
a slap watch,
slap it.
slap it. That's the kind of thing where I think you really start to see that technology utilized, where it's going to be something that people are going to be interested in.
Definitely, yes.
Perhaps this is the stepping stone to that. It's got to happen sometime. Something's got to come out first, and maybe foldable phones will be a hit. Maybe this is what people do want. Maybe phone companies understand that, or maybe they're just in a fight with each other trying to one-up each other. We'll see where it is. Chase is saying, do you know how much it will cost? We don't. I'm going to guess, based on that, the Royale phone, the one that came out, is about $1,300 US, maybe somewhere around there. It's definitely going to be expensive, but we don't know the actual price. I don't know if Samsung will even say anything like that today. We don't know if we're going to get to see a prototype, or they're just going to talk about how it works. But I think we're definitely going to see something about the foldable phone later on today at the Samsung Developer Conference. All right, there's so much more to talk about, and just seeing some of the comments, I want to get to all of those, but I know we need to take a break and get Drew in here in just a minute.
All right.
To talk about 3D printing. So if you have questions about 3D printing, Drew is your guy. Drew's going to answer those questions. We're going to kind of walk us through the history of it, and I think 3D printing is one of those technologies that is kind of, we thought it was going to be huge, and then it's kind of dissipated from the mainstream topics, but it's there, and the way that it is growing is pretty incredible, and how it's going to affect your lives. There's a lot of ways to think about it that it's doing that I think a lot of people don't think, like biomedical printing, things like that. So we're going to cover all of that here in a minute. Marie, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me again.
And we'll take a break. We'll be back here in a minute with Drew Prindle with more DT Daily. Back here with DT Daily. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Again, broadcasting live across all the platforms, and I say live, which means we can take your comments, your questions. Some of them I'll read on air, some of them I won't, but some of them will make me laugh. All right, let's talk about what we have right here. In addition to this that's sitting right in front of me, it's Drew Prindle.
How's it going, man?
Doing well. Thanks, Drew, for joining us. Maybe we should just never discuss this, what's sitting on the table, and we'll just go through the entire segment, or perhaps we should explain what it is.
Yeah, so this is Monoprice's gargantuan new 3D printer, the Monoprice Delta Pro.
This is huge.
Right? And that's kind of what is special about it. We got a sneak peek at this thing at CES back in January, and it's finally out now. It's like
so this is something it's taken a long time for this to come
they've
out.
kind of perfected it over the course of the last year, and it's now for sale, finally.
So this kind of 3D printer, is this something you would utilize at home? And we're going to walk through 3D printers just in general here in a minute too, just kind of start from the beginning and go through what they're being used for and answer your questions that you have. And I already see some that are coming through. But like, what would I use this for? Like, is this like my home 3D printer where I can, I don't know, print out a part for something? Or
yeah, totally.
like,
I mean, it's kind of the sky's the limit on what you can use a 3D
Okay.
printer for. But I feel like something that's this big is particularly well suited for printing like household items. Like, there's
Right.
a lot of the printers that you can get right now that are like cheap and cost like $200 or whatever. You can only print like tiny little figurines and stuff that's not particularly useful. But
and
like,
that's what I'm gonna. I didn't want to bring that up, but I mean, for most 3D printer demonstrations that I've seen, that seems to be what it is. It's like you print a little 3D printed Buddha or a dragon, and
Yeah.
like neat.
but not
I'm not
particularly
gonna spend $1,000
practical,
to
right?
get that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more of a hobbyist thing as
Yeah.
a result. But something like this, you can actually print full-size parts that you could, like, for example, like if you wanted a different nozzle for like your vacuum cleaner or something like that, you could totally print that right here instead of going to the store and just, automatically, just right away, just put it on your vacuum cleaner and go to town.
That I love. I love that idea. And there's plans for these kinds of things like online that you can or design your own.
At this point, you don't even need to have any sort of 3D design skills. You can just go online, go on like thingiverse.com. And there's a print that somebody else made
Somebody's
for
done it.
everything. Like for things that you haven't even thought of. There's like 3D printed cat armor.
Yeah.
There's like, I don't know.
Wait,
The list goes on
3D
and on.
printed. Sorry, I didn't mean to step over that. 3D printed cat armor.
Yeah, that's a thing.
That is utilizing technology for good things,
Right.
Or dangerous things. Perhaps that's evil. I'm not sure. It's being asked in the chat. Can I print a pizza? I don't think we're quite there yet, but maybe that's
There is a thing. There's a printer that's specifically designed to make pizza. It's not like widely available, but that's something people are thinking about.
That's the kind of
3D
technology
food printers are a thing.
we want to see. All right, well, keep on dropping in your questions about this, and we'll talk more about the ones that we're looking at right here. And again, what's the name of this one?
This is the Monoprice Delta Pro.
The Monoprice Delta Pro. So we'll answer questions on that, but why don't we just walk through 3D printers just in general? Like, I know we just had an article that came up on digitaltrends.com talking about the origins of 3D printers and where they came from, and just walking us through now and where we're going in the future. So why don't we talk just about when this all started?
The big picture thing.
Yeah, the big
Okay,
picture
so
of it.
3D printing it's still pretty young in terms of just like technology, right? So it was kind of really first invented in like the late 80s, around like 1986 was when they first like kind of figured out the technologies to make this. And the first one that they made was actually nothing like this one. This is an FDM printer. This is one that squirts out, it like heats up plastic.
Okay.
It's basically like a glue gun controlled by a robot. So it heats
glue
up
gun that
something,
will-
squirts it layer by layer to make an object.
Okay.
That was actually not the first printing technology that was invented. The first one that was invented was this thing called stereolithography, which basically blasts a light into a pool of this like photocured resin. So like as soon as it gets hit by light, it will harden, and then they kind of do that layer by layer.
So they just put more of this liquid on top of it, and then
On top of it or below it. I mean,
Okay.
it's kind of, gone both ways over the years. But yeah, that was the first one. But the thing is, when they first invented both of those technologies, they were patented.
Yeah.
So they were largely used by just like one company, and they were
nobody
used
else
for
could break into
industrial
it.
purposes. But then around like 2009, those patents expired. And that's when you saw the rise of MakerBot, and all. That's when the explosion.
that makes sense.
of-
Okay,
yeah.
so that's why nobody else during that time came up with a different way to actually utilize 3D printing. It was all based on that technology, and just those companies had it,
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
just didn't develop it.
I mean, they just, because of the patents, other people couldn't use that without like licensing it or whatever.
So basically, we spent 20 years where we could have been doing things with it, but just these companies wouldn't let anybody else utilize it.
I mean, that's the way patents work,
Wow. That is fascinating, though. I mean, that'd be like if somebody like, oh, I invented a smartphone. I'm not going to do anything with it, but nobody else can.
I mean, they were doing things with it. They were developing the technology, but it was more like industrially like oriented, right?
Okay.
So it wasn't until those patents expired and other people could kind of take the technology and play with it and apply it to different things that we started to see 3D printers designed for like home use and or like hobbyists, like consumer level 3D printing wasn't a thing until, the mid 2000s, 2009.
And that's when we started to see that. So we started to see these other companies come in, and we're showing some different images too of different ways that 3D printers are being utilized. And some of this stuff is really fascinating that people are doing, and where we're going with it, and what can be 3D printed. So I don't know where you want to lead us with that. Maybe just talk about what's being utilized for it now.
Yeah, so
they've gone from that industrial market to way more things.
Yeah, so obviously like 3D printing's been around for like, in the consumer space for like about 10 years now, and it's gone a long way in that time. I'd say in that decade, the main thing that's happened is it's become far more accessible. So like the first 3D printers that came out that you could buy were like $2 or $3 grand, and they kind of sucked. They weren't particularly user-friendly. But now there are so many of them on the market, and there's been so much competition that it's kind of driven down the price of 3D printers. So something like this size, this monoprice printer, even just a couple years ago, this would have been like, $5,000 or more. But this is only $1,500, which granted is a lot of money, but like compared to other 3D printers that are this size, it's dirt cheap. And that's kind of what's happened across the board. Like 3D printers have become drastically cheaper, like just because there's so much competition.
Yeah. So that's good. I mean, just that proliferation of that technology.
Yeah, I mean,
out.
Yeah, which is a great thing, and they've also become a little bit more user-friendly. But then at the same time, there's kind of two tracks that 3D printing is progressing on now. There's like the consumer level side, and then there's the industrial side. And the industrial side never really slowed down. It's just getting crazier and crazier and crazier. And I mean, not only do they have FDM technology and stereolithography, they have a whole fleet of other additive manufacturing technologies that are just mind-blowing. So they can make things out of metal. They can make like production quality parts that are just ready to use. Like people are making rocket engines with 3D printers that are like ready to use as soon as they're done. They don't need any like post-processing or anything like that.
See, that's the kind of thing that can change everything we're doing. We're taking a look right now at a video too. I believe, what's the name of this company?
So this is Desktop Metal. They're one of the kind of like front runners for making like metal 3D printed parts, which is kind of like the holy grail of 3D printing, right? Like these ones make plastic parts which have pretty limited use cases because they're not particularly strong. But if you can make stuff out of metal and you don't have to like start with a solid block of aluminum or something and then mill it down and lose all of that extra material, and you can just additively create it, that's a huge thing for industry because it saves so much cost and so much time.
Well, and you can revolutionize so much just with the customization aspect.
Yeah, totally. And Desktop Metal is kind of at the forefront of that. They're one of the leaders in like making metal parts, and this is their production system, that video that they just showed, and it uses this technology called single pass jetting, which is totally different than the stuff that we're using here. It's like a bed of fine metal powder.
Yeah, I was watching the video of it. And again, we've got an article about this at digitaltrends.com too. You can take a look, but it's just, it is kind of crazy. It blows your mind a little bit thinking about how they do this, like the actual mechanics behind it.
Yeah, I highly encourage you to check out the video if you haven't seen it before, but basically it squirts this binder on a super fine metal powder and then like heats it up and removes the binder. And the cool thing about it is the fact that it can make metal parts that are actually cheaper to produce at scale than like mass manufactured, like traditionally manufactured metal parts.
So
that's a first. Like that was kind of something that wasn't really possible until very recently.
So this could revolutionize everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really going to affect your individual life too much, but what it's going to do over the long term, as this kind of becomes more common and more people are using these kinds of technologies, is it's going to make stuff cheaper.
Yeah.
It's going to decrease product development cycles. So like products are going to come to life faster. And they're also going to be cheaper. Yeah.
Probably decrease waste, I would think, too, just because of the fact that you can.
Yeah, and that's why
they're only
cheaper,
using exactly what you need.
Yeah.
And taking a look, just a couple of comments. Rudy said, "Where can we get one? Where can we get this?"
Where can you get that?
Yeah.
Just Google it. Monoprice Delta Pro. I think they just put it up on their website. It's for sale, $1,500. Yeah, I don't think anybody else has really gotten their hands on these. So I have not seen a single review online. I'm still working on mine. I just unboxed it yesterday and started playing with it.
This is brand new.
Yeah, it's pretty fresh, and it's awesome so far. I'm definitely enjoying it. It's got all of the bells and whistles that you could ever want on a 3D printer. It's got like the heated bed, which is essential because you don't want the thing that you're printing to cool down and then break off the build plate. So a heated bed is essential. It auto levels itself.
You know, you're right. For $1,500, that is actually not that bad compared to what they used to be.
Totally.
And so I'm sure that you're going to be doing a demonstration with this at some point and a review and all of that.
Oh, 100%.
It'll come out.
It's in the works right now, but within the next week or two.
How long until we get the printed pizza?
Out of this thing, it's probably never going to happen. But printed pizza, I mean, like from a printer that you own, God, you're going to have to wait at least like a decade.
Damn it.
That's the thing.
All right. Well,
but I mean, if you think about it, that's already happening. Like they're like factory pizzas, like the frozen ones you can get at those are probably made by a robot of some sort.
Oh yeah, probably.
Some sort of pizza printer machine.
The damn pizza robots will get us. Well, I think it's really interesting, just 3D printing in general, and you know, we've got this article up at digitaltrends.com. You can take a look at just walking through the history of it, where we're at now, and trying to guess where we're going in the future. Glitch is asking about the warranty. Not sure about the warranty on it. I'm going to guess we don't have that info right off the bat, but
I don't know it off the top
you
of my
should
head.
get one and send us a video of what you print. I want to see what everybody else is printing. So again, broadcasting live here for DT Daily, and thank you everybody for joining us. We're going to need to take a break here for just really quick, and Drew, I want to thank you for joining us.
Yeah, it's glad to be here.
You know, as usual, check out everything that Drew writes about because it's all the coolest stuff you'd always want to like mess around with or get to play with or get to check out, and Drew gets to check out all that stuff and share it at digitaltrends.com. All right, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to be joined by Jean-Louis to talk about Capsure, a new social media app, talk about what that is, how she came up with a plan, and we'll be right back here in a minute with more DT Daily with her. And we're back broadcasting live here for DT Daily. Thank you everybody for joining in. We do have our live chat going across all the social media platforms, Periscope, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. So let me know your comments, your questions. And we have lots of great guests that join us here on DT Daily. And one of those is joining us right now. It's Jean-Louis, who is the creator of Capsure. Hello, Jean, can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, how are you?
Wonderful, doing great. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So there's so many questions that I have for you, but why don't we just start off talking about what Capsure is, and we've got some images of it, and maybe walk people through what it is that you're doing there with Capsure.
Okay, Capsure is a mobile app and website that offers digital photo and video boards that you can post images and video. You can also record audio over the photos and then share with specific people. So if you think about it like the bulletin board in your house, maybe in your kitchen where you have photos and things that you share or that you want to remember, Capsure is the same thing. but it's meant to be used as a tool to stay connected in private.
Gotcha. So you can create your own, groups or your own, specific friends that you only want to share these things with.
Yes. So instead of, social media right now is more of a one size fits all, or where you share the best or the highlights of your life and maybe you choose one special moment. This is more of, hey, here's what I'm doing today, here's what I'm doing the next day. It's mainly used for families staying connected who are apart from each other. And the audio component was a really important thing for us to incorporate into the app so that we could sort of bring those memories to life.
I think that's interesting. Like, how does the audio aspect of that work?
So when you add a post to Capture, you can post an image, and then after the image is ready to be, you add a caption or whatever, there's a record button, and you can record audio over the photo. So when we started Capture, we were really focused on family history and collaborating with family members on creating a shared media library, so those memories would be, everyone has a different perspective, right, of like your childhood or, all these different stories in the past. And so this allows you, everyone can share old photos and then record the backstory and even maybe interview your grandparents or your parents to really capture things firsthand.
I like that idea. So it's kind of like an update almost to the old family photo album, to a modern age. And so you could use that. Go ahead.
Oh, no, sorry. It's the cloud version of that. It's the bulletin board in the cloud that is shared by family members who, only they can see it.
So what was your inspiration for creating this app? I mean, where did this idea come from? Walk us through just like that actual side of it.
Yeah. So I am the youngest of 6 kids, and my dad had started a company when he was in his late 20s. And because I'm the youngest, there are a lot of stories that I missed out on. And so now that I'm older and I've started a company in the past, I was home in New Orleans, where I'm from, for a high school reunion, and I decided I'm going to interview my dad and get all these stories of what it was like when he started a business. And my dad is really hard of hearing. He's 85 now. And so I found myself sitting in our living room shouting questions at my dad, which, doesn't really make for an intimate conversation.
Right.
And he's like, why are you asking me all this stuff? He's getting kind of grumpy. And so I was like, you know what? There's a better way to do this. And we can use technology to do this. I can find old photos. I can have him just record the stories over the photos, and then we can have a dialogue around that. And I also have 5 siblings who can help me in that effort. And so around that time, when I was having this experience with my family, my co-founder, Mark Wayman, we used to work together. He invited me to go to lunch. And at lunch, he's like, I need to tell you this story. And he was cleaning up around his house, moving boxes and stuff. And he found an old answering machine with a blinking red light. So he picks up the answering machine. He hits the button, of course, right? Because you have to.
Right.
And he hears his mother-in-law just leaving a message, to his wife. And what's special about that is she had passed away 4 years earlier. And it was really still very raw in their family.
Wow.
And his wife was in the next room. And when she heard her mother's voice in the house, it just stopped her in her tracks. And she was like, I thought she was in the room. And so at that lunch, I got chills, and I told Mark, I was like, we just had the same sort of issue of where do we put these memories? Where do we put these recordings? If my kids are singing Katy Perry in the back seat when they're 4 and 6, and I have an audio recording of that, where am I saving that? We have all of our media spread out across all of these different platforms, Dropbox,
Right.
Facebook. But there's no one place with a front porch that has a welcome mat for you to come in and explore someone's life or your shared memories with your family members, your shared history. So we decided
go ahead.
to do this.
Go
ahead.
I do like the idea, that this is something that anybody could access. And I did download the app, so I uploaded something on there. Just taking a look at it, it's easy to use, like as far as accessibility. And what I mean is, maybe there's older family members who aren't used to using apps, and this simplifies it. It's very simple to use, user friendly.
Yes. So when we started out, we're both in tech. So we're like, we're going to have all these bells and whistles. Everything's going to be amazing. And it's going to do like 500 different things. And then we started watching our family members and close friends using it. And we're like, no, everyone hold on. In order to extract value from Capture, everyone, all ages in your family needs to be able to use it. And so we started stripping away different features, taking out extra menu items and just making it super straightforward and really like let the photos, let the videos speak for themselves. Just, one button, create a board. You can like it, but if you like my moment, I'm the only one that sees that you've liked my moment. So it's not a contest of how many likes you're getting on your post. It's really just affirmation from your loved ones.
It's actually, being utilized instead of that constant, how many people liked it? Why didn't enough people like it? Yeah, that aspect of social media that we all get.
Checking it every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then your anxiety level goes like this.
Yep, that happens to me every day.
Me too.
So I really like that aspect of it. That's keeping it, for the original intent, which is just, to share with your family and friends. Couple of questions here that I wanted to get. One, and this is something that we noticed, is that a portion of the proceeds go to Alzheimer's research. Is that true?
Yes. So in my last company, our cause was nonprofit art organizations. It was an online video arts and class platform called Creative Bug. And so I think that from the beginning, from day one, you need to have a cause that you support. And the obvious cause that we thought of was the Alzheimer's Association. So if we could somehow, if we achieve success, then we can donate a larger portion of our revenue to the Alzheimer's Association and help preserve the world's memories. And I know that sounds like a lofty goal, but you got to try. You
got to try, and you got to start somewhere. I think that's fantastic. I mean, that's a very noble thing to try to achieve. Let's talk about just the app itself, because I know some people are asking. I'm taking a look at the comments. When does it launch? Is it launched? And obviously, it is launched, in case you didn't know. But how does it work? You download it. I know there's a structure to it as far as a monthly cost. Like, how does all that work?
Yes. So Capture is a storage platform. And so what we do is we give all users a certain amount of data free to start, to test out the app, to try it out. The goal is we don't want to harvest your personal data to make money. So we don't have access to your personal data. The only thing we see is there was an image post or there was a video post and this image had audio, because we want to know if people are using the tools that we've built. Mm-hmm. But everything is private. And in order to run the business and preserve your memories and back up all of your content, we needed to charge a fee. And so it's $1.99 a month for unlimited storage. You have extended recording time for video and audio. And on top, you can also do it, you can do it for $19.99 a year as well. So you can get a break that way. But it's a storage model.
And that makes sense. And that's a reasonable price for unlimited storage. I mean, that's a pretty good price. But I think that's a really fascinating way, to go about it. And like you said, if you're not going that Google and Facebook model, companies got to make some money too. I mean, it costs money to pay for that kind of stuff. So I think that's great. Well, congratulations, on launching this. Where do you see it going? Any plans for adding anything on, or just kind of launching it right now and seeing where it goes?
So right now we're just focused on growing our users and promoting the audio feature, because we've seen that 3/4 of all images that are posted in the app actually have an audio component, which makes us really excited. And so we want to explore different ways that we can, expand upon that, to have, maybe we incorporate slideshows. So if if you're doing a memorial board for a loved one, let's say, and you want to, you invite everyone to contribute moments about that person and tell stories, we want to be able to give people the option to create like a slideshow feed to play, in honor of that person. That's one of the things we've thought about. We have a long list. Yeah. We have a long list of product ideas, probably too many, which is a blessing.
So yeah, absolutely. I mean, you just got to take one at a time. But I mean, being somebody who works in audio a lot, I love that aspect of it. I definitely want to try that out, so I'll be downloading it too. And Sean, I want to say thank you so much for joining us here too on DT Daily. Really appreciate it, and congratulations. On getting this, just getting an app launched like this is a huge process. Yeah. And now you're out there. I mean, I can't imagine how many hours you put into this, but now it's out there, and now it's just getting the word out. And thanks for joining us here.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks. All right, that was John Lewis talking about Capture, the brand new app, or the app that is out right now. You can download it and try that out. Very fascinating stuff. And, every day here at DT Daily, we have different segments, we have different interviews, and we bring it to you live, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. That's when we start every single day. You can join us across all of our platforms. We see your comments, your questions, talking about everything. Today, obviously we started off talking about the Samsung Developers Conference, which is going live in less than 10 minutes, when you'll actually get to see, we'll finally get to know, if they're going to show what they're going to show about their foldable phone, what we're going to see about Bixby 2.0, what we're going to see about the Galaxy Smart Home, where they're going with that. You'll find out very quick, and you can find out also by following Digital Trends on Twitter, on all of our different platforms. We'll have constant updates. We'll have articles coming out. You can check out all of that. We were joined by Drew Priddle to talk about 3D printing, which I also find very interesting. Apparently, we don't get the 3D printed pizza yet, but it's on the way. Maybe on the way. But you can read that article at digitaltrends.com and check out everything there for the history of 3D printing, where we're going, and get his review on that. And of course, joined by Jean-Louis to talk about Capture. Tomorrow, full docket of things as well, just like every day with DT Daily. We thank all of you for joining us. Hit subscribe. Go to our website. Check out everything else we have going on. Stay up to date. We'll do our best to keep you up to date every day right here with DT Daily.